Let's go. Down goes Ali. John Blackwell has entered the chat.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every single doggone day, including those days when you go up to number 2 Ann Arbor and you drop the Wolverines. Drop them. Biggest win of the season. Badgers pull it off. A nail-biter at the end. Massive efforts from a bunch of people we're going to talk about. A incredible gutsy victory against a really good Michigan team. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's the best place to get into this action all playoffs long. So visit FanDuel.com to get your college football playoff push today. Guys, we're going to talk hype. Oh, we got to hold on. This is the one we need right here. Win of the season, John Blackwell. What else went right? What's next? I'm going to pause there. Rajiv, let's go.
I mean, how many times have we said this year, Michigan looks like the best team in the country? And they are. They are a ridiculously good team. We also have constantly said that if and when this team actually starts making threes, good things can happen. Well, 15 of 33, 45% from three. We had Blackwell was 4 of 8. Billy Oscars 5 of 10. Billy Oscars, what the hell? Where did that come from? And it wasn't just about taking the threes. It was about getting better threes. Still think we took a couple that we didn't need to take. John Blackwell, a couple of them. But we took good threes because what did we do? We get the ball inside. We kicked it back out. We probed. We found ways to do it. Bottom line here, a massive win. You look at the tournament. You look ahead to when are we going to get our signature win? Boom, we just got it. On the road to arguably the best team in the country, sets us up really well. And remember, you look at the schedule now, you see this little stretch where we can rack up some wins, a really, really, really good win. But we cannot let the momentum die at all. We have to take this and build from it. The UCLA one was great. The Michigan game was even better. If we slow down, we will fall back into that shell of wondering what's going on. We need to build on from this. One unbelievable day. Finally, something to cheer about. Let's go, Badgers.
Justin, before you get in here, I do got to play this because
I was going to just say it.
I haven't had a chance to play this in a minute.
This is awesome. It's a good day for me. Come on in here, buddy.
All right.
Get up on that line.
Justin, let's go. Oh,
I was actually going to say that when you came to me.
This is big, Justin. This is
a good day. Get up on that line. All right. Yeah, massive day. I thought we looked considerably better defensively, and I realize against a team like Michigan, that's always going to still show its flaws. But the effort level on defense was far better. The effort level in terms of our interior guys rebounding against a team like this, that's a real bear to defend against, and also to get those rebounds, they did a great job. Good team rebounding. I felt like there were a couple instances where we're still a little sloppy and could clean things up. Hello, free throws at the end of the game, but incredible win. Incredible win. And two, this game does not happen except for two big players making plays that you were completely unexpected. I know people were talking about Carrington being the player of the game. We're not in this game at the end if it's not for AB. If AB doesn't drill those threes, I think everyone started believing when they started crawling into that, when he started drilling those and saying, hey, we can get a lead here. I think that changed everything, but incredible team win.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point with the defensive effort. Michigan is a bear. Dusty May's an incredible coach. They have length and talent and skill. They have shooting everywhere. They came into this game averaging 60+% from the field inside the arc. Badgers held them to 40-something% today from that spot. That's 15 to 20% lower than their season average. That just tells you, how good Michigan is to still score what they scored, and we held them under what they do. I thought the interior guys battled their butts off. John Blackwell fronting bigger players all game long. I thought Nolan Winter played really, really hard. Again, kind of physically outmatched at times, but he played really, really hard. Loved his game. Just the effort was incredible. Second effort, third effort on defense. And you saw it. Michigan multiple times had to not struggle, but they really had to work for open shots. How many times this season have teams not had to really work for open shots against us? Michigan had to work for it. Hats off to this defense, this coaching, and this coaching staff. They had them prepared and ready to go, guys. Let's go player of the game. Justin, we'll start with you. Player of the game.
Yeah, it's a split award for me. It has to be, I felt like there were two parts to this. It was Bielskis initially, And then it was Carrington late was the one that ended up bringing him home. But I feel like you need both of those guys. Otherwise, this win doesn't happen because you initially got we get running with Bielskis, and then you get Carrington late that carries it home.
I think I'm going to have to head out here in a few minutes. I'm just going to say couple more quick things. One, my player of the game is still John Blackwell. I think there were a couple times where I was a little bit like, oh, Blackwell, what are you doing there? I don't know why you needed that shot there. And there were a couple times where I was questioning things, but you actually said it to me last time. I think it was after we were done recording, Ryan, that like Blackwell shows up in big games, and he did show up in big games. And I think that this needs to be used as a launching pad. So Blackwell and Boyd today, for the first time, which I have been saying this for weeks now, they looked like they played better together. For the first time, it looked like we had a backcourt that was like a really good dominant backcourt that could cohesively play together. That was fantastic. I am just so proud of these guys. I think it's like an unbelievable game. Carrington needs to play more minutes. Okay, I've been saying that too. Get this man on the floor more. You can see the kind of energy he brings, the poise to the game, the way that he controls himself. Like, he's a good shooter. Put him out there more. But honestly, like, we need to build from this, guys. Let's enjoy this win. Thanks for letting me jump on for a few minutes. Hell yeah, go Badgers. I'm out. See you later.
Love it. Guys. Yeah, we were in our preview show, by the way. I was wrong. Like, I thought Michigan was going to take this pretty easily, but I did say that the road to victory is Blackwell and Boyd have to get 50, and Nolan Winter can't get in foul trouble. Blackwell and Boyd today got 48.
That's actually you did call that. That's right. And finally, we made threes. And let's hope that we can actually continue to make threes in the future. Go Badgers, guys. Thank you.
I'm going to go player of the game for me. I think it's Carrington. I really do think it's Carrington. I listen, Blackwell's incredible. He could be the player of the game. Boyd was great. Boyd was a one-man press break at times. That was a phenomenal play. I also was like screaming the whole way, bro, kick it to the corner. He's wide open for the three. Okay, made a layup. Okay, Nick Boyd. But what Carrington did, forget making a couple college free throws at the end. It's this right here. It's what Paul just pointed out. It's 9 rebounds. Carrington had 9 rebounds. He had multiple hustle plays, played well defensively. He drove at moments when the Badgers needed somebody to get in the paint and get to the line. I thought Carrington, Carrington brought an edge. I think Mitch nails that. I thought he was awesome today, Justin.
Yeah, I felt like I agree with that. The big thing I will say is I think the bigs and Carrington all played really hard in this game. Like, you have young centers who are playing against some very established college players in Johnson and Mara, and they battled. Now, it was clear that Michigan had the advantage on that side, and this is a game where you see why Winter doesn't have a ton of points, and it's because he's playing so dang hard on defense that it's drawing over into his offense. But he really battled too. Like, if you're watching Winter in this game, what he's doing on that defensive end, and I totally could pick up on why he was struggling a little bit on the offensive side, because it's like he's really fighting with some of these bigs that have probably 15, 20 pounds on him. And I thought Bielskis played great in the post, considering how much younger he is. He's far from a finished product there, but you want to see these guys fight and claw and scratch, and they did that. And that's something that, and it's the same thing with Carrington. You have to have, and this is why I little disagree with Rajiv on this, is that we expect the level of play that we get from Boyd and Blackwell in a game like this. Carrington and Bielskis, you look at it and you're like, this is what you need. You need somebody to step up big and make plays that is completely unexpected. And I felt like both of those guys made plays in this game that you were not expecting from them in a game like this.
Well, it's been two of the bigger problems with this team. When you look at what this team has done, it's been the 4 spot with Austin Rapp and Bielskis up to this point not being consistent, and it's the bench with Janicki probably not being quite as far along as you want and some holes there. You need something off the bench that's consistent, and you need something at the 4 that's consistent. You got both those today, and lo and behold, you beat the number 2 team in the country. If you can get, and let's be clear, you're not going to get 5 threes from AB every game. No. But if you can get a consistent shot from him, and by the way, let's also point out Nick Boyd getting in the paint, driving, kicking, bringing people in, set up a lot of really nice shots there. The Michigan Wolverines struggled with our drive and kick game all game long.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a weakness for them, actually. When you look at them going into the tournament in this game, they really struggled with Boyd getting downhill on them. They don't have a guard that can cut that off. They do have size on the interior, but if you spread them out, they're going to have trouble with you if you have a point guard that's got some speed. And that's one of the things Wisconsin has. Now, if Boyd had a right hand, good Lord, he would have had probably 35 in this game. But man, like, he really exploited them to the left.
He was awesome. I still laugh. Announcers, and I don't blame announcers. They don't watch every Wisconsin game like we do, but they're still like, oh, he went to the other side of the rim. I'm like, yeah, that's what
every time.
He's going to do that every single time. Oh, look at him get to that other hand. I'm like, yeah. Okay. You haven't watched Nick Boyd much then. Yeah. Okay.
He's a left-handed guy. Like,
we're going to take a second there, come back, talk about what else stood out, and can the Badgers build on this? Is this a one-off, or is this something that they can build on? That's coming up next. Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show. Let's talk about some things that come up in day-to-day life for guys. We don't talk about it all the time, and maybe you're not feeling it today. But listen, the moment might be right today, and maybe Rugiet Ready can help you get into those moments. Rugiet Ready is designed to help you take back control. Maybe you're not feeling super stressed today, but some days it's there: work, money, life, occasional three-point shooting droughts, which didn't hit today. But Rugiet Ready is the next generation prescription treatment created to support both the brain and the body so you can feel present, confident, and ready when that moment matters. Rugiet Ready combines 3 clinically proven ingredients in 1 mint, dissolves under your tongue so it absorbs fast, and over 150,000 men have already made the switch. Most men are ready in about 15 minutes on average, the typical Paul Christ length of a drive, so you can stay present, confident, and control when the moment is right. If you've been thinking about taking that next step, now's the time. Head to RugietReady.com/LockedOnCollege. That's RUGIET.com/LockedOnCollege. Get 15% off your order for a limited time. Rugiet Ready. Feel present, feel confident, feel ready. Justin, I want to hit this topic next, and I'm curious what people think in the chat. Is this something the Badgers can build off of? Because if the Badgers have played this well, the way they played against Michigan, with this level of effort, this level of intensity, they would have beaten some of the other teams that they've lost to, and they certainly would have lost by 30 to Nebraska. So who is the real Badgers is the question.
I think in the last few weeks, we've seen more of this. And I think that this is what Greg Gard has been leaning into them, being like, you're not going to roll it out on the floor in the Big Ten and beat these teams with the level of defensive intensity you've been showing. And that's valid. I think that Nebraska game, it's kind of been since then where he was I think that when you're a coach, there are certain games where you get your players to actually listen to you with what you're trying to tell them. That Nebraska game was one of those games where it was probably really big for Gard to sit there and be like, this is what I've been telling you. This is where I've been trying to get you guys to understand the level of intensity you need to show. And that was a game where they got slapped in the face and said, if this is how you're going to play on that end of the floor, it doesn't matter how well you shoot. There are teams that can shoot with you.
I love this. If I'm Greg Gard, win or lose, I would have, obviously the win, but you now have film of them playing incredibly hard and well on defense. Right. And I had to
tell them this, look what happens.
Yeah, I had a coach tell me one time, don't you dare show me you can play hard defense, because then I know you can, and I'm going to hold you that standard every time. Like they can play really, really connected, and they did that today. I think some of that is Carrington. I think Beals, to your point, played really well. I also thought Kinzinger in his 5-ish minutes, I don't know, he's so
a really heady player.
So smart.
He's a smart kid for a freshman.
Yeah, dude, he needs to be out there a little bit more as well. I'll tell you another thing that stood out for me, and then I'm going to kick it to you, something else good that stood out to you. I thought there were multiple moments in this game where teams can fold. First half, when Michigan kind of started off fast, but in that second half, when you had built that kind of 4-point lead, 6-point lead, and then Michigan just kept counter-punching, right? They kept closing it to 2. But the Badgers never had that back-breaking turnover. They never let them tie it. They kept coming back, getting to the line, making just enough free throws. I thought they just didn't fold in a spot where a lot of teams fold. And to me, that's mental toughness. That's some discipline, but it's also potentially this team starting to gel a little bit into what they can be.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest moment of this game, and I think it speaks to what you just said, is you're watching when we went down 73-70, and then came right back and took the lead on that. Because I know I felt in that moment, I'm like, this is earlier in the season, they fold right here. Like we've given up the lead. Michigan has not stopped coming at us. This is a moment where I would expect us to just come down, take a bad shot. Maybe somebody doesn't get back on defense and suddenly it's 5.
Yeah, it's really well said. Anything that you didn't love in this game? I mean, you're never in your best moments, you're never perfect. In your worst moments, you're never completely useless. What didn't you like in this game, if there's anything?
Well, I mean, the biggest one consistently this season, and it's not a particular player. When we've had free throws in big moments in tight spots, we've shot poorly. It's a lack of focus in those moments, and you have to do it. That'll lose you an NCAA tournament game. That'll lose you big games in the Big Ten. You have got to find a way. I realize you're going to miss. You're not going to hit all of your free throws, but you've got to find a way to lock in when it's in the big moments, because in a game like this, you left 4 points on the board that could have easily swayed this game.
Yeah, I think the free throws is a great one. I was tearing my hair out in those moments. I think you need to see a little more from Rhodey. Now, Rhodey hit a cold-blooded three at the end, just seamless catch and shoot, very little wind up. That was a cold-blooded dagger corner three. But you need more than 3 points from one of your starters when you don't have a deep bench. So I would like to see him be a little more involved offensively. I've said that multiple times, but you got to see more from him. I thought some of the pressure defense and foul trouble threw him off his game a little bit. But aside from that, man, I don't have a lot to nitpick. Michigan, I hope people realize, and Rajiv and I talked about this a little bit in a little bit of a preview. Michigan has not just been good this year; they've been a wagon. They're one of the best offensive and defensive teams in the country. They're incredible. This is a massive win, and Justin, this is one of those things. At the end of the year, when your resume has a Michigan win on it, that's going to carry.
Oh yeah, there's tier one, and then there's this gets you in the tournament tier one.
I was thrown off by your incredibly loud typing.
Sorry. I was actually trying to look up what you brought up. So adjusted offense on Torvik, they are a 127.2, which is number 5 in the country. Adjusted defense, they are 88.5.
Yeah.
For perspective, anything below 100 is above average. They're 88.5, which is elite. Like there's very few teams that are sub 90. I bet you they're probably that margin by a fair amount are ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, they're absolutely insane. Thoughts on going forward, the rotation. What do you want this rotation to be? So we have the 5 starters on that bench. I think there's been some flip-flops. What do you want this rotation to be? And especially when Austin Rapp gets back healthy and maybe engaged, do you want to be 9 deep? Where do you want this rotation to be?
I think you need to get Carrington in there consistently. I think we saw that today. As much as they seem to like Janicki, I feel like he's just more productive, and there's less negative plays that happen with him out there. Janicki tends to get himself into tight spots where he's just locked into something where he doesn't know what to do and kind of gets spastic and has a turnover or takes a shot that's just like, what the heck was that? Carrington's pretty refined at this point.
Yeah, I think he has to have earned more minutes. Sorry.
And I think Kinzinger is a guy I'd like to see get more, but I also look at him and say you could tell he's a year away, strength and conditioning wise, from being able to really hold up defensively. But he does a lot of things on the offensive side. He's really good at finding space and stuff like that on the floor, which is something not every player understands. Like he just knows how to take that extra step away from his defender or whatever in a moment, which gives you enough room to get a shot off that other guys don't understand.
He's a ball player. You can tell Kins grew up playing ball and not just doing drills. There's a difference between people who grow up doing drills and people who grow up playing ball.
5-on-5, yep.
He's grown up playing ball, and it's because his older brothers play, his dad's involved. There was a really impressive sequence. I love that you brought up Kins because that's kind of one of the reasons I asked that question. They late in the second half, they threw it into Kins. Michigan was pressing. They were on the right sideline, and I think Michigan thought there was going to be kind of easy pickings there with the freshman, and Kins just broke it. Just dribble up the court.
I think he's got to listen. He's not flashy, but I think he's a very well drilled like ball handler. I'd be shocked. I'm not that he wouldn't turn the ball over, but he's a guy who I don't think just loses his head in that moment, especially in Wisconsin, where it might not be the same quality of basketball that you like from an athletic standpoint, but you'll certainly see guys who are going to be pressured and stuff like that in a lot of the games. And I think that's where it's a little different than what you see at like the AAU stuff, where it's like defense is almost an afterthought a lot of the times.
Yeah, no, it is that very much that in AAU. Not all AAU programs are created the same. I've coached in AAU a little bit. There's good and bad and everything, but there is a lot of bad in AAU. I want to kind of maybe finish here before we get your comments. We got 62 star comments, so we definitely want to get that. I think it's really interesting, man, that we've talked this long about maybe some defensive adjustments, rotations, but it's also just as simple as they hit their threes. This is a team built around hitting their threes, and we don't need to overcomplicate it. If this team hits threes, they can knock off anybody, and we saw that today.
I will say it's not like they shot like insanely today. Now they probably did for a team against a team like Michigan, but they were only 45% from three.
I mean, that's really good. I mean, that is
it is really good, but for a team that is supposed to be built on shooting, 45% shouldn't be like an outlier game. That's a good game, but it's not a game where like you came out and you shot 55% from three, and that's part of the reason why you won the game. To me, shooting around 40%, really good three-point shooting teams in the NCAA, that's like their season average. They're like 37, 38%. So you shot slightly above range. For Wisconsin, though, that's well above where we've been. We've been low 30s. So that's a substantial outlier game for us. But a lot of these guys have been shooting well under their career averages from three. You have to hope that this is something that starts to carry on. What I will say, we did not see a lot of bad shots in this game. And that was a big part of it. They worked the ball well. They got open looks. And when that happens, I don't have a problem with guys taking shots. There were very few times where I looked at this game where I'm like, why did you take that shot? Really only one I can remember in the game. It was Janicki. It was early in the shot clock. They kicked at the corner. He was open, but I'm like, you're not the guy I want taking that shot in this set. And It was a miss. But other than that, there really wasn't many.
No, I thought they played really, really well offensively. And keep in mind, shooting 45% against Michigan. Michigan came into this game, I believe, averaging, giving up 28% from the three defensively. So shooting 45% from this is
well above what their defense
is like shooting. I mean, we would have cooked most teams. There was a comment in here. We would have cooked, Badgerman. We cooked most teams by 20 today. I agree. If you played this well against most teams, you cook them by 20. I think Badgerman's dead on. All right, we're going to take a second here. Your comments next. Plus, we're just going to mention a really big pickup for the Wisconsin Badgers as well. Not in the portal. A different front. That's coming up next on Locked On Badgers. First, a quick second for our friends of the show. Quick second to say thank you for tuning into Locked On Badgers. We got 500 of you right now watching live, which is incredible. Today's episode brought to you by our really good friends over at FanDuel. College football playoffs are here. Indiana's an absolute wagon. I don't know how Miami's going to compete there. But if you feel really good about that, like I do, FanDuel's giving all their customers a new way to get in on every single game in the playoffs with the Profit Boost, which is waiting for you in the app. So if you feel really good about something, you can use the Profit Boost, lock it in, or lock in a parlay or big moments or big players in the game, and then go to your Profit Boost, use that, and make even more money over on the FanDuel app, which is the #1 sports book that we use. A lot of other sports as well. NFL playoffs are obviously coming up. Big game today for the Packers. Hope everybody's locked in and ready for that. All that's going on over at FanDuel. FanDuel is the best place to get into the action all playoff long. Visit FanDuel.com. Get your college football playoff profit boost every game day. All right, let's get some comments. Justin, you ready for some comments?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's take some starred comments here. We got a bunch of them in here. Patrick Nisa says, who was that team?
That's fair.
Josh says, I was wrong. What a great win. I was also wrong. So many comments. Just, are we back? Yeah, I mean, Justin, I'm baked. Are we back?
Yeah, I think you see some of the hints of what this team could be. Like, this is their ceiling. And I think we felt this starting this season. This is the ceiling we felt this team potentially had. Now, you have to play to this level consistently. And that's the thing that we haven't seen with this team. That's got to continue. Now you have something to sell to everybody, though. You know, like when you work this hard, this is what can happen with your players, and get them to understand you really need to bust your butt in this game, and good things will happen. Because if this team starts to play really good defensively, it increases their room for error exponentially.
Ben Powell, 3 cheers for Braden Carrington. So many effort plays. I think the effort plays from him, they stand up because when you look at this roster, what Braden Carrington can give you is he can give you some of those athletic plays that you're not going to get from John Blackwell just because he's having to carry such a heavy load both ways. John Blackwell is guarding a post player essentially on defense and then carrying the offense. Nick Boyd's not going to give you that. You don't have that kind of longer wing. Yeah. Carrington gives you some of those. And there were 2 or 3 plays in this game, Justin, that aren't going to show up in the box score. Whether it's diving out of bounds to save a ball, whether it's rotating over and then closing out hard because of his length allows him to do there. This is a really good comment from Ben Powell. Carrington was all over the day. Jeff Olson as well. Carrington flying around, being active on D. Rob Jansen have to build off this win. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions in here. There's just a lot of complimentary comments, which makes sense after the Badgers took care of Michigan. Mike, if you see, Mike Beyond the Mic is on the chat here as well. So Patrick Nisis, you got to talk about challenges with guard.
Yeah, it's one of those things with him that I don't understand. He seems very hesitant to actually take a chance. And I kind of look at it like, if you see something that you think is a potential one, what do you have to lose? Like, you get it either way. What's the worst case? You lose it?
I mean, so every team has somebody on the bench, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I would be hesitant to put this on guard. Every team has
I know he's got somebody that's going to tell him whether or not to do it.
Right. So guard's in the moment. And I'm just, as a coach, you're not in the moment saying we're going to challenge this or not. You have somebody on the bench who says yes, no, and maybe they need to refine that process, maybe not. I know at times, listen, players are also wrong a lot. The players are up and down and like, hey, review it. Well, that could cost you a timeout. It could cost you a challenge that you might need later. So I'm actually not too stressed on this one, but I get it from the perspective of if you see players jumping up to challenge it and the coach doesn't, there's some kind of disconnect.
Yeah.
Badger Boardmouth, what did you two think of the ref calls? Inconsistent.
Yeah.
I thought they were okay. I've seen much worse reffing efforts. I thought there were a couple plays where we got the benefit of the doubt. I did think there was a very incredibly the thing that kills me with the refs, Justin, and then I'll kick it over to you, see what you thought of the reffing today. And in the chat, let us know too. I thought there was just such an obvious offensive foul down the stretch on Michigan. Where was it?
Oh yeah, the push off.
I forget who that was.
It wasn't even just that. He also stood over him and stared down at him like taunting. And I'm like, that would normally be a technical. Like,
he went right through him.
You can't taunt like that. Like, that would be something that would absolutely get a T in a game at any other level.
Yeah, but I any other thoughts on the rest? I thought they were okay, not great. I thought they were whatever.
Yeah, I think inconsistent is the way I looked at it. Like, we talked about it when Carrington on that last one got fouled and he was falling down. I'm like, I was waiting for that to be called a travel instead of it. And I'm like, they hit him like 8 times. I'm like, at this point, you can call the foul. Let's just get to it. And especially when you know they're going to be fouling. Like, refs normally get yelled at because they tend to be a little bit like too quick to call that. And these guys were like, we're going to make sure it's a real one before we actually call anything.
I like this comment here because I had the same internal thought. Krob says, still hate Blackwell slowing down, playing one-on-one with less than 10 seconds. Just in general, I thought the Badgers went away from running their offense down the stretch a little bit. This is an offense that had 90 points today, shot really well. You're up 4. It's 88-84 in one of the possessions I remember, and they just kind of took the ball out and dribbled and then kind of went one-on-one at the end. Just keep running your offense. Just keep running your offense, your stuff. I didn't like that at the end of the game.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I would prefer Boyd to have it in that situation. Like, I'm not expecting Boyd to necessarily finish at the rim every time when he's out there, but I do feel more comfortable with him passing it in those situations. We've seen enough times where Blackwell just seems more likely to put himself into a spot where he can't get out of it, and he's kind of boxed in. And that's my fear. And we've seen that with Badger point guards or guards in general for the last, 20 years. They get themselves in a bad spot where it's like you have no place to go and you're toast, and there's guys with length on you that you are now – there's no way you're getting even a reasonable shot out of this.
Justin, this was a 19.5-point line, by the way, because I don't know the answer to this. When's the last time the Badgers won a game where they were a 20-point dog? Does anybody know? Is there anybody?
When was the last time they were that big of a dog? I mean, that's got to be 20 years.
Is this the biggest upset in recent? It is. Like, the
Badgers has to be
that point dog. It was incredible. Greg Linscomb, I appreciate you, brother. Best wishes to your 49ers. Ryan beat Philly. And Caroline, this is a really good question. Caroline, how much of this team struggles do you think is confidence? Justin, how much of this, maybe the team lacking confidence, maybe it's not gelling, maybe is this just a one-off again? Like, there's all these questions with this team still.
I don't think it's confidence. I think it was effort. Like, we've talked about it. Like, you make your own luck. And that's something that when you play hard defense, good things will happen. This team was not playing good, hard defense and not playing it together for the bulk of this season. So when you're not doing that, teams are going to have their luck against you or have good things happen for them. You have to look at this from the standpoint of Offensively, a lot of the times what leads you to have positive things happen is putting the other team into a bind and having them make a mistake, which gives you an opportunity to get out and make an easy shot for yourself. And Wisconsin hasn't created a ton of easy shots for themselves, mostly because it's been a lot of half-court basketball. It's been a lot of not movement. We've seen this team when it's at its best is when it's on runouts, which are created off defense. So when you're not doing that consistently, you're going to have a lot of games where you look rough because you're getting into spots where you're kind of just standing around watching somebody go one-on-one.
Yeah, I think it's well said. I think there's spots of this where the team has just struggled gelling around what they want to do. I think the identity of the team hasn't completely manifested, so they've kind of struggled to try to adapt. You might be seeing some of that culture come together. I'll also point out we made a similar point in football with Luke Fickell. This team clearly is still all bought in because you don't go up to Michigan and beat this team on the road unless you are all bought in and you're all rowing in the same direction.
I want to say, I don't think that we ever thought that they weren't bought in. I think we wondered about the chemistry of the team a little bit, which was what I thought was like, do these guys all like each other and like playing together, which I think is a big factor. And when you see teams that are well-rounded and playing together, it's because they understand each other and they understand their roles and they're not trying to push outside of that. You tend to struggle as a team when guys are unhappy with what they're being asked to do and they want to do more. And so somebody's doing something that they shouldn't be, and it leads to people getting either frustrated by that person not doing their job or other guys being like, well, if you're going to get yours, then I'm going to get mine. That leads to worse things. I do want to bring in this because we've seen it a lot in the chat and we haven't talked about it yet. This is going to affect Rapp because you saw how well this team played defensively to agree, and how physical, and that's a shortcoming of his. So unless he's going to come out here and prove that he's going to play at this level, I think you see a line where he could start to lose time on the court if this is what this team looks like when he's not out there.
Yeah, I'm not. My thing
he's
with
a weak spot, a big weak spot on defense.
He is, but so is Beals has been too. I think
but
some
he's
of
more physical and has more of a presence than what Rapp is.
I just think some of those hit shots. Like Rapp will
that's
play.
Fair.
Rapp will play if he hits shots. It's as simple as that to me. And he definitely has defensive deficiencies. I mean, we talked about it in the offseason. I wondered if he'd be able to hold up. Yeah. But ultimately, poor defensive forwards will still play if they hit threes because you're scoring at a more efficient rate from the three. It's all going to come down to that, guys. I hate to tell you. Like if he hits shots, he's going to keep playing because he should, and because his team doesn't have a lot of depth at the four. They just don't. But you're right. Defensively, he needs to get a lot better. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. It probably won't happen this year, but he's got to hit shots. Justin, let's talk about a big commit too. So tons of lots happening. Obviously, there's still portal stuff. Expect more portal stuff coming. ... But the Badgers pick up a big-time 2027 four-star commit in-state tight end, Cors Logan. That is a massive in-state pickup from a guy that Notre Dame was after. There was some ACC schools after him, other Big Ten schools. This is a national-level tight end recruit, Justin.
Oh, absolutely. He had some SEC schools after him, too. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he took a visit to Alabama. Number 4 tight end in the country by 247, by the way. So athletically, this is a premium. Like, he's one of those guys that you look at that Wisconsin doesn't, on the tight end level, that they don't get very often. I think that this is a number 1. Hey, for the state of Wisconsin recruiting, Luke Fickell, this is a great one for you to be able to get people off your back. So way to get that first domino to fall in state. Now you get to get Cole Ryder and hopefully get him in there too. That would be great. That's the top 2 guys in state that you could then have on your list and say, hey, we got it done this cycle. But it's a good domino to get that moving from that standpoint. Anytime you get a player that I think in this scheme can be a huge focal point is a big get. And I think that he's capable of being a really big part of the passing offense for Wisconsin when he gets here as that guy. Because I think the tight end that you want to run with Grimes is definitely going to showcase that position where he's going to have an opportunity to really stretch the seam and be a guy in the middle of the field who can make things happen.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice rundown, especially with the scheme fit. It's just, it feels like the momentum is churning, right? Yeah. There's no mistaking how well they've done on the portal, and now you land a number 1 kid in 2027 in a state that has quite recently bled the number one talent to Ohio State, to Penn State, to Notre Dame, to Minnesota. Locking those borders back up, I think, is a big deal, and that's a massive gift for the Badgers. Justin, I asked Rugiet this the other day. I'm curious on the way out. I don't want to keep people for too long, but who are your 3 favorite portal pickups so far? Not counting Colton Joseph, if he wasn't.
All right, if you're taking Joseph out of it, all right, I would say probably.
I'll let you think for a second. I'll tell you my 3.
Because there's so many names I'm trying to sift through in my head.
My 3, it's Burks, the safety from Missouri. I really like Javon Robinson, the cornerback from Arizona State. I just think he's a really solid player. And then it's the center for me, Kawecki, just because you needed it desperately.
Yeah, I think Kawecki is one for me. I would say Poyser.
Good one.
I watched his highlights and I was like, this dude is a fire hydrant that just is always moving forward. Like, he does not get stalemated at the line of scrimmage. Like, he's just beating up the center and the guard every time you watch him move on film. He's going to be a handful. Like, if you get somebody next to him that can be a good run stuffer, that guy is going to be a problem in pass rush sets because he will beat up guys with his quickness, and he's really strong. And then I would say, I really like Sama, but I think the kid that they got out of Texas from TCU, I really like him as a back. I think that he offers some things that you need in that room. I think Sama gives you a really good baseline for a running back. I think that guy adds some things that, from an all-purpose back standpoint, that you need on this roster that you lost with Jones leaving, that I think he gives you some back.
I think that's a good list. We are going to wrap it there, guys. Wisconsin takes down the number 2 team in the country. Be excited. It is a massive win. You put that in the resume. Michigan is now 14-1. So sad. So sorry. It'll be a great trip back from Ann Arbor to Madison on Wisconsin. Absolutely love what the Badgers did today, and hopefully they can build off of it. He is Justin. I'm Ryan. Go check out the Bucky Report with Justin and Rajiv, as always, on Wisconsin. And we will definitely talk to y'all later.